Okay, we're live. Thank you so much. Appreciate everybody's patience while we were dealing with technological difficulties. We will go ahead and call this work session to order and start with item 1, which is our financial update from our CFO, Ms. Pickle.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
So this is today's update, and it's for the month through the month of January. So just last month. If you look at the first page, you'll see that we're at 58.33% of the budget year. So in comparison, we should be right around there. At the bottom of the first page, you'll see that the total general fund revenues are at 55% right now, and that's a big jump because last month we were at 30%. So we're coming right along. We're just nearly on target. So, but we are where we expect to be, even though we're not at the 58% or so where we expect to be, and where we are typically at this time of year, in the budget year, I should say. The expenditures for the general fund are at the first part of the second page, and that's at 59%. And that's just a smidge over, but really it's still just right on point. So that's really good. All the other funds are operating as expected, and they're all, some are a little bit over for the revenues and some are a little bit under, but it's as expected for this time of year. So everything really looks good. You'll notice that under the park section, under expenditures, it's about a third of the way down the page. For community center, it has a really high number in the far right hand, and that is because we have unrecorded rollover budget amendments for items that were not expensed in 2023, but they were budgeted and approved. So we just haven't done the budget amendment to do the budget numbers, what it's comparing it to. Mm-hmm. So right now it's only at 3,000, but it should be 165,000 more than that. So it will be whenever we do the budget amendment. So that's why that number looks skewed.
May I?
Okay.
Is the budget amendment for the restrooms per chance? Do you know?
I don't know exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
And we're waiting for closer to the end of the fiscal year when we do
the rollover. Yes.
Okay. And then when you say that we're just a touch over, you're saying compared to where we were last year?
That is compared to, where we are in the budget year. So the percentage is actually where we're at this year's timeline.
Okay.
We should be at 58.33%.
I see. And we're at 59.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's still right on track.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
I don't. Does anyone else have questions for Ms. Nicole?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Close down. All right, moving right along. Item 2 will be a brief commission on court goals. Our court clerk, Ms. Donahue. Welcome.
Hello, Commissioners.
Hello.
All right, so just want to go over a few of the goals and general information about the court. Our mission is to deliver fair and accessible justice for all, ensuring equal treatment under the law. We strive to protect rights with compassion, operate with integrity, and exceed community expectations through exceptional service. By supporting the judiciary and upholding the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of Tennessee, we strive to maintain the high standards of accuracy and excellence in all of our endeavors. No. There it is. Got it. All right, so our staff is Judge Houston, myself as court clerk, and Allie's the deputy court clerk, and our special assistant, Christian Bird. Just a few of our functions and purpose is to perform the duties of court clerk in compliance with state regulations, record and document judicial procedures, and perform a variety of calculating, accounting, and typing duties necessary to accomplish the processing of citations in court cases. We docket these citations and cases and maintain the records. We receive and process bonds, fines, and costs, and receipt all the monies received. We complete the dispositions in necessary forms as well as distribute them to the appropriate agencies and maintain those records. We type and send out court documents such as warrants, jail commitment orders, and subpoenas. And we greet and serve the public at the counter, on the phone, and through email in a courteous manner and provide information within our scope of knowledge and authority. The first goal I want to go over is one continued from last year. It is, we're almost complete. We had to go over the contract and we're now in the requisition stages. We'll sign that contract and we'll begin work on it. So we're almost there on that one. Training and networking has always been real big for me. I like for Allie and I to go to any of the training that will help us provide better service to our community, basically. And one of the big things we've been working on for the last 3 years is our court clerk certificate from MTAS. We will receive those in April of this year. We've done the conference. This will be our 3rd year in a row. We've done the foundation class. MTAS has come to do the site visit, and we've done all of our online classes ours. So we should be accomplishing that this April.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Another big one is technology. Making sure that we're staying current will help us communicate, organize, and be productive and efficient, and reach customers. There's just a few things that technology will help us do. The goal is to network with other clerks and vendors at conferences and find out what they might be using that could help us better our service model. I plan to visit with a few more court clerks and see what some of the things they're doing to see if it can help us from their years of experience. Maybe they have some better ways of doing things. And then the software we use is different from what Hamilton County uses. We've been in contact with their IT. Hopefully, if it's conducive to our program here, that's what we'll be switching over, because it'll help us. The electronic bonds the jail already does, and it'll help us be able to see other courts' records and be able to compare their records with ours. And then fines and costs. We're currently looking for more efficient ways to collect fines and costs. We have a method of calling people when they miss court and things like that. So it's helping people know that there's other ways. They don't just have to not show up and then get warrants and things like that. So I've been collaborating with our CFO. We're going to explore other collections ways for past and default cases. And then another big one that I really want to start working on is our driver's license reinstatement. We have already started using the state website, so we're able to look up people's driver's license and see why they're suspended and help them, point them in the right direction of where they need to go to pay those fines for other courts or whatever they need to do. And then we can get them on a payment plan so they're able to get those licenses back. And Knox County is currently the only place in Tennessee that does this. So they did a presentation at one of the last conferences. And so I plan to reach out to them, see if I can do a site visit with them to kind of see how they run that program. And then some of the final thoughts on this is we will continue training to increase our knowledge and bring a better service model to our community. I would like for us to be at the front end of changes in modernization of the courts. So this would make us the ones that other municipalities would look to and come to for to model their methods after. And ultimately, my goal is to have more productive and streamlined court clerk's office with a knowledgeable staff. So is there any questions you may have?
I do have a question about the community service program that we were talking about,
Yes.
restarting with Public
We have
Works.
started that.
Okay.
We've had one day, and
Okay.
unfortunately, the one person didn't show up.
Oh, no.
But we did have a day. It was a female, so the females get to go down to the recycle center.
Okay.
So if there's just one of them, it's a lot easier. The others, we have to have a minimum of 2.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got it started. It's just our first initial didn't go so well because she didn't show up. So, but it isn't in working
Okay.
now. So.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that update. Any other questions? No?
Thank you.
Alicia.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 3, brief commission on police department and information technology goals. Chief Seymour.
You're so good. Click find down. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, I really tried to condense this down to less than an hour. But no, well, they laugh because I can get worried sometimes. But I know realistically, I don't have about 10 or 15 minutes or so because we have a lot on the agenda. So, every year the police department sets out our goals. So my idea is just to share our goals that we've set amongst the agency this year. Some of it rolls into kind of budget and kind of the physical year and all that, but this is not intended to kind of be a budget, type of item, just kind of sharing some ideas. And then after I talk about the police department, we'll roll into a little bit of information technology information on there. We cover our goals and objectives. Now, you can see our mission statement on the front page. Affect a positive difference is the main part of that. As we go through these goals, I don't plan on reading word for word, but I also hate standing in front of the podium. So when I first started public speaking, I would study right here, right? You're hidden and you're all that. And now I can't stand it. I have to move side to side and all. But our police department goals are not in any particular order. We just have some overall agency goals, and then I have each department goals. So every year we meet sometime in January, and we go over the previous year's goals, see what we did, what didn't we meet, what can we reset, what do we need to keep, all that. And so this is derived from those meetings. So we solicit those to our supervisors and officers if they have anything, any input. So these first two have been on our list for a while. We've modified them, but the top one there really is just maintaining organization of our records archive. But also one of our intents is to clean it up a little more in preparation for digitization, of those records. Even though it's a little more difficult just with all the criminal cases and things we have to go through, but there's no point in scanning that information that we don't need to scan. So we've been doing a lot of that. So that's a lot of it. The second one, just maintain civil enforcement. Now, it kind of sounds bad, but what this really does is if we have a nuisance property that's related to prostitution or drugs, then there's an effective way to see about getting somebody evicted from those homes, also in rental property and stuff. So if somebody owns the home and they're still doing it, there's not a lot we can do, with that. Now, we haven't done one of these in a couple of years or so, but we still maintain it as a tool if we need to get rid of a problem area. So it's not like we're going around and trying to evict people that are just, or have one hiccup. This is a nuisance. There's a lot of regulations on that. It has to be repetitive and all that. So we just keep those. Communications is really important. We always keep and strive to improve our communications, and so we address some of those things. What can we do to decrease inaccurate information? This mostly has to do with internal communication, but also has to do with external as well, and being able to communicate that as well. But we just address that. Goal 4 is just to address our fiscal year that we plan for it. We've kind of already started with that, trying to get ideas, soliciting feedback from members. You can see, hey, there's obtained input from supervisors and all. So we just do that. We do that analysis. Some things we want to look at possibly doing. Do we need to upgrade any technologies like we do, whether these LPRs that we've currently gotten approved are still hadn't even been installed yet. So that's something in the back of mind to see how that project goes. Do we need to add anything? Does that project work and all that? So we just have that on there. Security cameras and drones, we've talked about, it says surveillance, which is that's talking about like our security cameras here at the police department, right? Our security cameras. We've talked about trying to get deployable cameras for events. such as, like for the parade and all. It really helped from our command post status if we can see another part of the venue and things. And it also can just help with actually just monitor traffic and things, really what we were looking at possibly there. But that's just stuff for us to explore. We're going to look into the needs. We may be able to have replace our canine this year, and so just have that as part of the goal. But even if we did, expenses for the canine would come out of the drug fund. It wouldn't be like a general fund issue. Goal 5, we really want to maintain our partnerships and cooperations with other agencies. And that's how we can do that. Goal 6 is continue to develop and provide mental health resources to our agency and community members. So include our chaplaincy program, even to the point where we'd like to expand it, have 1 or 2 more willing to participate on the team. Make sure we provide mental health resources to our members here. We just see that as a very important need, but even to the community. So our chaplaincy programs really help there when we have a death or serious issue. Our pastor comes out. She even at one point helped. She came out, met the family on a critical incident, a death situation, and she did the funeral for the family because they didn't have anybody to do it. So that's just really beneficial for that program, not only for the members of the agency, but the community as well. 7 is maintain adequate staffing and excellent service delivery to our community, which also includes the use of the violent crimes detective that we started and that y'all approved. B, if you notice, retain the VCIF position after grant funding ends. So that will be a budget that we'll bring before you kind of for your attention. The grant runs out in the end of June, right? And so then we have a possibility of just keeping that in the budget. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. We just won't be able to get the reimbursement on salary there. But it's working well. And we're working on the data and the information from that VCIF grant to be in our annual report. And we should have that hopefully by the end of the month, but definitely by the middle of March for that annual report. 8, make steps towards upgrading facilities and equipment. You know, we're running into problems here. We're not the only facility, right, that needs upgrades. And we've talked about that. And currently, looking at public works, but we're having a commission meeting with 3 or 4 people in line to use the bathroom. It's just kind of one of those things, right? And so just look at a plan and getting that in there as well. I got the security stuff there. We've talked about some awning or coverings for some of our vehicles that kind of stay out here for a long period of time and seeing if we can do that this year. Uniform services. So this is kind of what Uniform Services came up with. They want to attend recruiting events, have strong leadership skills, encourage personal development, also help officers develop specialized areas so they can be more effective employees. And I know I'm going through this fairly fast, but I'm just trying to give you a quick overview of this. Achieve and maintain trust and support from the community by promoting positive interactions. That's really important. This came from our department, not just from the chief, right? So we've kind of had this as a standing goal for a while. We've modified, we want to participate in community events, right? And use social media and give crime tips and all. So we do that, but we do revisit the idea, can we do something different or even better? We use the newsletter from time to time on things like that as well. So we want to continue doing that. Safe environment where our community feels secure from criminal activity. We want to do that. And so some of that on here may be a little misleading because it talked about like working undercover and and all that stuff. Just like, look, if we know we have a problem area, maybe we need to have officers working, on that street. And that's really what we're talking about here, just that focus enforcement from time to time, but providing just general patrol activity and responding to those activities. Right now our police department responds to all the calls, right? I mean, they'll take phone calls and things, but our staffing levels and all our call load allows us to do that and to give that service back to our community as well. Maintain partnership Professional Standards Division. Keeping the training and all that up to date. And a lot of this has a lot to do with accreditation. B, you'll notice on there, active threat scenarios. So every year we try to do some type of active threat, whether schools, churches and all that, just trying to get your training. Last year, I believe we had a coordinated effort with the fire department and us. That went really well. So we want to do something there as well. This just talks about enhancing training and safety and all that. And this has to do with our accreditation, improving that. Criminal investigations, still maintaining unclaimed property and evidence like we want to. Clearance rate, you're responding to calls and getting the, we do have a high clearance rate for our cases as well, above the state average and all. You'll see that in our annual report as well. Education training members, reducing illegal drug activities and related crime, right? So K9, working with our task forces, DEA, doing our alcohol integrity checks as well through the city. But E is important too. Presentations and materials, providing that to citizens on scams and things, crime prevention tips and all. So our CID detective sergeant, we've been doing it, but now it's become more of a focused effort on his part to go out into the community and I think he's got some scheduled time over at the community center to come in and speak. So that's with the police department. Yes.
Leads me to think if there's a neighborhood that would like an officer to come and talk about those types of deliveries and programs, would that be?
Sergeant Steve Hope's the one, or they can
Okay.
email me or whatnot. But
Okay.
yes, 'cause that's what he's been doing. He's been talking to groups,
Okay.
different groups and all. He's already done several presentations, and we've done them in the past, just like we've ramped that up. But yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I can take any questions on the police department before I roll into the next one if y'all want to, or y'all might even think of some. You're like, no, you've already talked enough. We're like, oh, we got a lot. We should shut up. Or some of them probably say, oh, keep going, chief. That way I won't have to speak.
Mayor, and
Please, Mr. Freeman.
I just wanted to commend the chief. He looks fantastic. He looks fit. Chief has worked very hard on his physical fitness. He is in the queue for a slot at the FBI Academy. And he's to be commended for his,
Well, that's not.
commitment to excellence in that regard.
Nice.
Information technology. Thank you. Well, I wanted to start off by saying what all we've done, because I think we forget, and the IT information technology is a little more project oriented, whereas like police and service delivery, it's not, we don't have like projects we work on. Right? It's just day-to-day service delivery with a few projects and things thrown in. But this is everything we've done in the last 2 years, year and a half to 2 years. Our IT manager, that was number one. I was going to try to put a big smiley face there. The emails, the AV, the website, all this, all the software upgrades, the computer changing our Wi-Fi, your provisioning of the laptops, and even getting you some electrical outlets up there so that to make sure in case you forgot to charge up the laptops or something. All this stuff, implementation of technology related to the body cameras, infrastructure there. As well, so upgraded our firewalls, all this stuff that we've been doing. But to kind of give you an idea, this is just what we have in process. So our server migration and domain unification, and this has to do with us moving everything, kind of most everything to the cloud, and then getting us all networked together so we work with less complications. We have more streamlined communication between departments and agencies. So we are currently just started the migration on the police department today. And so we're hoping with that actually should be complete this week, but minus any bumps and all that might take a couple of those. That project will then be able to spin us off to some future projects, which is on the next slide. Currently organizing digital file structures of some of the files that we've had to move. Alicia already talked about the court digitization. We're finalizing our cybersecurity training. So the training that we want to do for new employees and current employees, we've already tested that a little bit, and so we just have to get that rolled out. But the big thing, some of this is taking a step back because of server migration. We also started the process for hardware inventory, seeing where we are on our computers and devices. So this may be a budgetary issue coming up, but we've got about 15 devices that will not be able to be upgraded to Windows 11. And so we'll have to look at replacing these PCs. It's possible there could be some ARPA funding, but it's also possible we might have to use some general fund money on that. But we'll try to have more information, better information during the budget process for that. And some other hardware that needs to be replaced it's running 10 years old and when we first got it. So that's what we're doing there. We also worked on consolidating billing for our managed IT services because we've added on so much. You look at the bill and it's very difficult to figure out, find what's going on there. So we're just working on that. And then that's also in preparation to just bid out our managed IT services and just see where we are, in the, with other companies and all that are out there. Working on our IT recovery and response plan, and then just replacing updated e-citations for the police department. Some of the old stuff, some of this current stuff, some of this stuff that's on this other slide also helps us to prepare the city to be a much better place where cybersecurity insurance is concerned. So there's bits and pieces, but it's a process that we have to go through before we're really ready to do that. So everything on here has something to do with that. So future projects that we've got to look at this coming year, and this is more of the goal stuff. The replacement of the computers. We also want to do a little bit better training to the employees to utilize some of the software that we have available to us. We're going to be adding multi-factor authentication, which a lot of companies, most of you, well, all of you, I guess, should be familiar with that. We really want to beef up our security here. But we can't do that until we finish this other system, migration and all that. This coming year, we want to look at that exploring of the finance software. Just we've talked about it. Is there better software out there? Do we need to change? Is there something better with our current software, do purchase order, check request, trying to move away from paper, right? Exploring further digitization of other forms and all, trying to go a little bit, less paper, right? Make it easier where somebody, instead of having to come down here and to City Hall, maybe there's something they can do from their computers at home, but still have the availability, which leads into kind of some of the other about kiosks that might be here at Court or City Hall, exploring that, where they can come in there and do it. Court software, we already talked about that, other records, and then streaming services. I know Tracy's been, we had talked about that, and it comes up occasionally, but just seeing what we can do better, streaming services for the commission and all that too. So, and let's not forget, even though we have those as goals, I just wanted to throw this in here because even though we have all these, that first slide, all those green things, we completed all those, but we still support and look at improving the website and our works and our social media and our civic clerk and code and all that. So all this stuff that we've counted off as being done as projects, there's still work that's being done in the background, or we still want to make other improvements. So we're still doing that along with the new projects in the IT world. So there's a lot going on in that world. So with that, I went over my 15 minutes that I said that I wouldn't talk anymore, but I had a couple interruptions that maybe 5 minutes. Right? That's all I got on that. So any questions or comments, things that you need?
Thank
So
you.
you can peruse these goals, read word for word if you'd like to, in your own spare time, on the weekends or not doing anything.
Thank you, Chief.
I'll keep this on. Oh my gosh.
So we will move on to item number 4, discuss intent to apply for Project Diabetes Grant. Mr. Gravy, our Parks and Rec Manager.
Good evening, Commission. I hope everybody is well.
Evening.
With this wild weather where it was 7 degrees last week and it might snow tomorrow morning. So today I want to talk to you about our intent to apply for Project's Diabetes Grant. But before I do that, I want to take us back to summer of 2024. Give a really big, huge thank you and shout out to Trust for Public Lands. They went out on their dime and hired Valerie Naylor. And then they partnered with the city of Red Bank to put together a stakeholder group to come up with a trail design and a trail plan, which I've set before you. So you guys can peruse through that at your leisure. Essentially, that trail plan is shovel ready, where we would just have to get the funding and then put out RFQs for somebody to come out and get that trail going. So the reason I'm talking to you today about the intent to apply for Project's Diabetes is for the funding of Godsey Ridge Trail Design. This is a non-matching monthly reimbursement grant. We would be going after Category A, which offers up to $150,000 a year for up to 3 years. So that could cover things such as the complete project of getting Godsey Ridge built out. It could go for bringing in more trail amenities the second year, more parking, kiosk signs, things of that nature. And then for the third year, we're possibly looking at using it to enhance connectivity, safe connectivity from our other parks to that area, so that walkers and bikers alike have a safe path to, say, coming from Red Bank City Park to come over to use Godsey Ridge. This is just the first step is putting in this letter of intent, which does not commit the city to anything. The deadline is March 7th at 2 p.m. If we get accepted, the state will send us an invitation to apply, which at that point, I would bring a resolution to the commission to apply for this grant. This Godsey Ridge project is, I think, extremely important for the city of Red Bank. It not only benefits the general public, but it also can be used by our Red Bank High School for their cross-country team, for their JROTC rucksack runs, for the teachers who have a walking club afterwards so they can walk somewhere besides pavement. It'll be an amazing benefit for our active older adults program to utilize our partners such as White Oak Bicycle Co-op so that they can start teaching kids how to bike off of hard surfaces and on dirt surfaces. And then just for people to use as an extra trail that is internal locally for Red Bank citizens. So with that, Commission, I want to respect your time, and I know we have some other things to go over. Are there any questions about our intent to apply for Project Diabetes?
Yay.
Yeah.
Why haven't we done it already?
I don't have any questions, but I've talked to you about this at City Hall, but I just want to bring up that I think it's really neat that I have a newspaper clipping that is from the early 60s, mid 60s, where the city of Red Bank was talking about doing this very thing in the 60s. And unfortunately, it never happened. But this is something that's been long desired by our community. So it's really, really cool to see us making some moves in that direction.
Yeah,
So
correct, Mary.
I'm very excited.
I was going through old clippings as well, and also through old resolutions and other things. And it was originally on the docket for the LWCF grant that we went after that built extra ball fields over there, what is now the community center, and paved that area. There was supposed to be an observation tower and trails over there that unfortunately got cut from that. So like you said, this is not a new concept. It is something that has been making in the decades.
Excellent. So exciting.
Better late than never.
I mean,
All right.
one comment. I mean, between this, this and the new bathroom over there, I feel like the community center was kind of underutilized. I mean, at least the playground, and this will really make that a destination within Red Bank, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited that that bathroom is going to be twofold, right? We won't have to have a porta potty outside for our playground users, but it also is kind of the first step of facilities for the Godsey Ridge project.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, go submit it. All right, any other questions?
No, I have it part of my report because it caught my eye about the title of it, Project Diabetes.
Right, and I think we'll be very competitive for this. We hit over 5 or 6 different strategies in it when they're asking for 1 to 2. And I think that this project knocks it out of the park for a lot of preventative disease maintenance.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, Traffic Garden Memorandum of Understanding with White Oak Bicycle Co-op, resolution number 25-1768. Mr. Gravy.
Thank you, Mayor. So I am extremely excited to bring before you today a resolution authorizing the signing of an MOU between the City of Red Bank and White Oak Bicycle Co-op, a trusted city partner, for the creation of Red Bank's first traffic garden. I was also doing some research online, and I found a website that does traffic gardens, and they map out where all the traffic gardens are in the United States. There's only 2 others in the state of Tennessee right now. One is in Knoxville, and it's actually a super beautiful. It's a small city they've
Oh,
created.
yes.
And another one that is just northeast of Nashville. So we would be the first in our area to potentially have a traffic garden. So you may say, what is a traffic garden? It's a scaled down street network where children and new riders practicing biking and road safety in a car-free space. So this planned space for the traffic garden is on the asphalt of city-owned property, what is currently known as the Hickson property. So it's that asphalt that takes you between B&B discounts and over to our fire station 2. And that area will be a good fit. It's currently being not utilized for anything. And while the city is making plans for its future, we thought, why not activate this space since nobody else is? So with that, White Oak Bike Co-op will be on the point, as they are the experts literally in the room on biking, to help design and paint the traffic garden, as well as lead scheduling programming. And when there is no scheduling program, the space will be open and available for public use. So people can take their kids down there, or let's be honest, there's plenty of adults that also could use these skills as well. So they can come down. So with that, I would like to now invite up the White Oak Bicycle Co-op, Blake Pierce and Cass Bolzer. And Ben.
Thank you all for having us here this evening. This is our 5th year doing this, being a part of the Red Bank community. My napkin math showed that last year we gave away 117 bicycles at our public events here in Chattanooga, and that's to children. So at Easter in White Oak, at the Jubilee, and at Christmas Festival. So this is just the next step in providing a space for children and families to be able to go and learn the skills necessary to be riders. As we invest in our community and in trails and pathways, it's also important that we have a skills area where our youngest and even our oldest can go and feel safe and learn how to ride. So we look forward to partnering with the city in this endeavor, and I'll turn it over to our wonderful staff, Kat, and she can tell you a little bit more about the ideas and concepts.
So we went through a little bit about what traffic garden is. Do y'all have any questions so far? Yes.
I was looking at some of the example images, and I see that a lot of it is just paint, but I think there was some talk about having some, like the stop signs and things like that, that might stand up. Are there plans for other objects, obstacles?
Yes. So the space over there is not real big. It is 34 to 36 feet wide and about 220 feet long. So it's, to be honest with you, not real interesting. But if we were to be able to bump some of that out into the portion that the city owns of that kind of B&B discount parking lot, and then into the field a little bit to make it more of a unique space, especially blending the traffic garden idea with more of a bicycle playground idea, that would be A, more interesting for riders, and B, kind of do some skill blending there in terms of riding. You can have some traffic garden, you can have some traffic skills, and you can also kind of have a little bit of off-road skills. I teach all of those. They're all applicable in every single way. So yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, so what you said, signs specifically, but yes, I have some signs that we have created both in-house and some that we have purchased. All of my programming to date has always been something that I put out there, creating this space, activating this space, and then cleaning it up at the end of the day. So really when it comes down to this, many options. We can do, as long as we kind of have permission, which is what we're asking for, we can, the sky's the limit. In terms of funding, yes, there's a little bit of a limit there. But, you know, we can dream it, we can be it. So, yes, it will look, signs included, little streetscape, hopefully bumping it out to a little playground too. Yes.
Get around it.
I was just gonna ask if there was any consideration for removing through traffic through there, like vehicles.
Oh, yes, that is the number one thing that I do in all of my programming is shutting down the road and making sure that vehicles can't come in. So, really the idea is when we work with Jeffrey, we'll be activating this space, we'll be using Rec Desk, right? To register people for, these certain classes. And yes, we'll bring out those barriers to block traffic. That's the number one thing, because I wouldn't do it if it wasn't safe.
And for when White Oak is not operating it, Public Works Director and myself are looking into other options to make that a safer space to use when nobody's programming.
Awesome.
Okay. Good.
My 4-year-old was very excited about this idea. By the way. I showed him some pictures from the packet.
Well, you can sign up for free on
This
Rec
is
Desk.
great. He'll be at every one. Don't you worry.
And if you all haven't seen the one from Knoxville, it is incredible. And maybe something we could aspire to one day. They have actual buildings that look like a little post office, and it's just like a
Chili's or
little
something.
town. It's very cute and gives them a real feel for, like, you know, driving on or cycling on the road, and, you know, structures all around them and things like that. Hidden line of sight. So I'm very excited about this. And also just the added kind of amenity and activation of that space that has been not developed yet. So thank you all for being great partners.
Thanks, White Oak.
Mhm.
I think the last thing I want to put in is just how excited I am, because more and more biking opportunities are being developed all around us. The new painted lines over on Fraser will drive more bike traffic wanting to go that way. With Stringers being so close to here, people want to take their kids to be able to bike from their homes over to there. So I think that this is an important thing for our citizens to be able to gain those skills to confidently and safely traverse the landscapes that we currently have.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Gravy. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to hear from you on the next item because we will have to table the remaining items so we can get to citizen comments on items on the work session agenda. Mr. Granum.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizen comments. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 2 minutes in work session or less, and the city recorder will operate a timer. Please respect her direction and conclude any comments as time expires. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner, the city staff, or the audience. The commission is here to listen, not to respond or engage in back and forth, so please do not expect a reply during citizen comment. At this time, citizens are invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. Josh Branham, Governmental Affairs Director for Greater Chattanooga Realtors. Address is 2963 Emnacoa Highway. I have, at break, I've got a report to give to you all for the January residential market statistics for Red Bank. And what's funny is that I'm not much of a math guy. I barely squeaked through, but you'll notice on the report some pretty wonky numbers, and that's because there weren't many. There were actually, for closed sales, there were 4. So that makes statistics kind of wonky. So you'll have this information here as well, but I really wanted to provide you a report that is fresh off the internet from our National Association of Realtors. I've provided you this report in the past for the year 2023. This came out last week. It was for the year 2024. And this report measures the average economic impact of a typical home sale on average from the state of Tennessee. And for the state of Tennessee in 2024, there was an estimated $84.2 billion in real estate, which is 15.7% of the gross state product for the year 2024. And that amount was just over $120,000. And that is per per typical home sale. That takes into account construction costs, but also things like painting, landscaping, furniture, that sort of thing. So the takeaway from this report is that the more housing that's available, not only does that help lower the cost for people trying to get into a home, but also that helps share some of the tax burden over a wider area. So I'll provide you all with this whenever you all take a break here. But as always, if there's anything I can do, please let me know. And thank you all. Oh, actually, it's 2 minutes.
No.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments? If not, we'll move on to our final item. Any other business to discuss? Does anyone have anything that they need to bring up? Okay. If not, we'll go ahead and adjourn and return at 6 o'clock for our regular meeting.
Actually, I was almost gonna do a